I think I might have stumbled upon the worst place on the internet. And it's called r slash my hero power scale. Am I overreacting by calling this place the worst place on the internet? Maybe. But I can't spend more than 5 minutes on this subreddit without getting an aneurysm. For a power scaling subreddit about My Hero Academia, there sure is a lot of MJ downplay and just horrendous scaling. It's so bad, in fact, that I'm making 2 entire videos on My Hero power scaling because of it. This one, which will be on the atrocity that is the speed downplay I've seen on that site, and the second will be on the general issues and misunderstandings that surround the series inverse scaling. First, I'll be going over the brain rot inducing speed downplay, and then I'll be giving some alternative speed scaling metas that don't use lasers. If you want my actual opinion on My Hero speed scaling, then go watch this video, but I know a lot of people don't like the laser metas, so I'm just not gonna cover them. By far, the most common argument I see for My Hero speed downplay comes from the Ultra H databook, where someone asks Horikoshi about All Might's speed, to which he answers that All Might had a top speed of Mach 10. But the fan specifically asks about running speed, which means that the number Horikoshi responds with is how fast All Might could run, not how fast he could punch or dodge. I'm gonna get into it later, but there are also just so many feats in the series that completely contradict the idea that the verse must cap at Mach 10. In the same vein, people will bring up Ida and Todoroki moving at fighter jet speeds to downplay most of the verse to subsonic, but this is yet again just a travel speed feat, and Ida himself has moved faster than this in shorter bursts. The other speed downplay I see is less common, but it's 10 times as atrocious, and it's obviously the idea that Deku can only break the sound barrier with gear shift. Right away, you should realize that this is absolutely moronic, because we literally have a statement of a character being able to run at Mach 10 speeds. Shigaraki is equal to Prime All Might, so he would at the bare minimum be Mach 10. But then Shigaraki would be faster than sound, and according to this argument, only Gear Shift Deku is faster than sound. You see the issue, right? And like I said, there are a multitude of feats that show that supersonic speeds are not shit in My Hero Academia, which I'll get to in due time. Which, if I'm looking at my watch correctly, is right now. Like I said, there are a fuck ton of feats that we could use to prove the verse is definitely faster than supersonic, but I'll just cover 3 of the simplest ones. Number 1. In the Dark Deku arc, Deku is malnourished and sleep deprived, and despite this, he can outspeed sound waves with ease, with calculations getting this to as high as Mach 100 plus. And if he can do that while in such a weak state, it's pretty dumb to say that Prime All Might caps at Mach 10, or that Deku needs gear shift to break the sound barrier. The second feat we have is Deku dodging bullets in the first movie. The first run of bullets completely miss, but going frame by frame, we see that Deku actually does outspeed the second round of bullets, moving just below Mach 10. And he did this at just 5% at most, again showing that supersonic is by no means the limit of the verse. Finally, in the second movie, we see Bakugo fire his at bare minimum Mach 20 nitroglycerin explosion at 9. 9 moves after the explosion was fired and still manages to put up a shield, which would have required him to move his arm at over 200 times the speed of sound. And 9 without copious amounts of drugs is a bitch compared to any high tier. So yeah, supersonic speeds aren't shit in MHA. With that covered, we can get into some actual speed scaling. And like I said in the beginning, I'm not using any lasers here just to show that the verse is still fast even without the common light speed metas. And in my opinion, there are 2 routes we could take with this, both involving Lady Nagant. We all know that Deku is able to move way faster than Nagant's bullets, blitzing them from off-screen, which would require speeds of over 200 times faster than sound using Mach 3 bullets. But Nagant obviously does not shoot regular sniper bullets, and her rifle obviously is not a regular sniper rifle, because these bullets can travel over 200 kilometers with minimal bullet drop, Meanwhile, regular sniper rifles have a max effective range of just a few kilometers. When you actually calculate this, you find that our bullets would need to be moving at around 1300 times faster than sound. And this is where the scaling meta splits in two, because we can either go with the route of saying 45% Deku can dodge, deflect, and in general move in tandem with her bullets, and as such 100% Deku would be 2.2 times faster than said bullets. Or we could plug the Mach 1300 value into the calculation for Deku outpacing the bullet to find his 100% speed that way. But this could be seen as calc stacking, which it technically is, but calc stacking with the speed of a projectile that's been calculated this way is sometimes seen as acceptable, so it's really up to you. Multiplying the bullet speed by 2.2 gets us a 100% speed of nearly Mach 3000, and plugging the Mach 1300 value into a calculation, we get a 100% speed of Mach 100,000 or 11% the speed of light. Yeah, it's a pretty big difference. And this would be the speed of modern day / weakened All Might, who we can then pretty easily set as being 20 times slower than his prime self, since we know his running speed in Kamino would only be around a 20th of his prime Mach 10 running speed. And while combat speed and running speed are different, I think it's fair to say that his modern day combat speed would have taken a similar hit as his travel speed, which means that All Might in his heyday would have been either 20 times faster than Mach 3000, getting him to just below 7% the speed of light, or 20 times above Mach 100,000, which would get him to around twice the speed of light. Which means that, yeah, even if we don't use any laser feats, we can still get the verse into the light speed ranges. I'd say the Mach 3000 is more consistent here. Not only do we have the previous feat of 9 casually moving at over 200 times the speed of sound, and he needs a buttload of drugs just to fight 100% Deku and Bakugo, but we also have All Might performing a similar explosion blocking feat that can range anywhere from Mach 500 to Mach 2000, and this is him holding back and weighed down. So do whatever you want with that information. Shigaraki in the Final War is directly stated to be as fast as Prime All Might, and both Bakugo and Deku could blitz him. Deku would be faster than Bakugo since he is confirmed to be perception blitzing Shigaraki, but both would obviously still be a good amount above Shigaraki in terms of speed. If we're going with the sub-relativistic end for Shigaraki, then Bakugo would likely need to be around relativistic and Deku would probably be light speed or faster. And if we go with the FTL end for Shigaraki, then Bakugo would need to be FTL plus, and Deku would probably reach into the low MFTL ranges. The reason I'm saying probably and likely is because while I could calculate these feats, doing so with the reaction speeds taken from other calculations would definitely be a form of invalid calc stacking. So I'm just guesstimating where Bakugo and Deku would likely be at their fastest. Like I said, the next video on MHA is gonna be about the inverse scaling of the series, because holy shit, My Hero has a lot of problems when it comes to that department. It might not be the next video I post, I have some other stuff in the pipeline, but we'll see.